Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, please continue playing of the national. Hope this mic don't start giving any problem, you know. Be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to what is truly a defining occasion in the landscape of national development. The commissioning of the Parnassus Irrigation System and launch of the Parnassus Agro Park right here in the beautiful parish of Clarendon. My name is Dermot Spence, and I have the pleasure of serving as your master of ceremony for this morning's proceeding. Oh, I'm also the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. At this time, please allow me to formally acknowledge presence of several distinguished individuals who have taken the time to be here with us for this very significant event. Mr. Prime Minister, we waited on you patiently. The atmosphere was electrifying. The amount of distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all who are here today, is just too many to name. And to be honest with you, we are very happy from the agriculture side, sir, that you have come here with us this morning. So his official introduction is our visionary leader, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. And you can give another round of applause for that. Her Excellency Judith Slater, British High Commissioner to Jamaica. Please make her welcome. Our hard-working and dedicated Minister, the Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. The Honorable Franklin Witter, Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. Members of Parliament, Mr. Dwight Sibley's, Northern Clarendon. And Mr. Robert Chin, Manchester Southern. His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Joel Williams, Mayor of Maypen. Mr. Darren Newman, Advisor to the Vice President, Caribbean Development Bank. Minister of Religion, Reverend Dale Evans Worry. SS Shane McCullough, Divisional Head, Clarendon Police Area 3, and other members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and other security personnel here this morning. Please give them a round of applause. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, heads of agencies, chief technical directors, other members of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, members of the media, our farmers, agro-processors, other stakeholders who are all here with us and are joining also online. Ladies and gentlemen, please make everybody, one and all, welcome. Welcome to the commissioning of the Parnassus Irrigation System and launch of the Parnassus Agro Park. It is important that we pause for a moment to invite the presence of the Lord to guide this event, the work ahead, and the future of all involved. I invite Minister Worry to bring a word of prayer.
It's still morning, so we can say good morning. And first I must acknowledge my Prime Minister, the Honorable Andrew Holness, and all other distinguished guests. I acknowledge you this morning. And you know, I must say it's a pleasure I'm just living outside here in Gimme Me Bit. That's where I'm living. And I'm pleased to be here this morning as we are commissioning the Parnassus Irrigation System and the launch of the Parnassus Agro Park program. It's a wonderful program. I must say it's a great program by the government and leaders of Jamaica. And I hope it will be a blessing to all involved. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for life, and we thank you, Lord, for this new day. As we gather today, our hearts are full of gratitude. Lord, we bring before you these government agriculture farms across Jamaica and here in Parnassus. We ask for your hands of blessing upon every seed planted, every worker involved, and every plan that is made by those who lead. May these farms not only produce abundant harvests, but also serve as channels of provision and hope for our communities. Grant wisdom to those in leadership and those who oversee the agriculture policies and programs. May their decisions be guided by integrity, sustainability, and a heart for the people. Strengthen the farmers and workers, bless their hands, keep them safe, and let them see the fruits of their labor. Let the land yield its increase. Let these farms become models of excellence, and let all those who benefit from them lift up their eyes in thanks to you, our Heavenly Father, the giver of all good things. We commit these farms, their workers, and their mission into your hand. Let your favor rest upon them, and let your provisions never run dry. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Minister Worry, for inviting the presence of the Lord to be with us this morning. It is now my pleasure to invite His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Joel Williams, Mayor of Maypen, to deliver the welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Darren Spence, JP, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Minister Frank Witter, Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Member of Parliament Dwight Sibley's, Mr. Robert Chin, His Excellency, Her Excellency, Mrs. Judith Slater, British High Commissioner to Jamaica. Councillors caretaker, other distinguished guests gathered here this morning for this momentous occasion, the launch of a very significant project in this part of Jamaica and ultimately in this part of Clarendon. Those of you who gathered here might not have known that the last time we had any significant project of this kind was during the 1980s with Spring Plain. Today, vision of the Prime Minister and the government of Jamaica has once again brought to this part of Clarendon this project that will suffice the development of our food production for the country of Jamaica and for the people of Clarendon. And by extension, will be providing the kind of opportunities that the farmers in this part of Jamaica has been yearning for since the downturn of Spring Plain. It is indeed a pleasure for me to welcome you, those of you who are here for the first time. I am pretty confident that this project will sustain itself and will bring the reward to the people and to the country and to the GDP of Jamaica that make us continue the prosperity that we need to make sure that Jamaica become the country of choice to invest. Without any further ado, I once again want to welcome you and ask of you, those who are here, to make sure that you will enjoy yourself, but by extension, the farmers who will be producing, I ask of you to do so with diligence, because Jamaica needs this kind of project now more than ever. Welcome you all. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mayor Williams. From what you have expressed, this commissioning and launch is indeed a major step in the right direction for this community. We hope that it will bring you great future. At this time, we will be having two greetings from two distinguished ladies. First, we will hear from Her Excellency Judith Slater, British High Commissioner to Jamaica, followed by Dr. Darren Newman, Advisor to the Vice President of the Caribbean Development Bank. Please make them both welcome.
Most Honourable Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, Minister of Agriculture, Floyd Green, Minister of State, Franklin Witter, MPs, PS Dermond Spence, MPs, Robert Chin, Dwight Siblis, Mayor, Councillor Joel Williams. After that, I think all protocol observed, and great to be here and welcome everybody. I'm really, really delighted to be here back in Parnassus today to represent the United Kingdom here in Jamaica as we open the tap on the first completed pump house. This is the culmination of a huge amount of work, as many of you here today know. And it's the first of what I hope will be a number of celebrations, Minister Green is nodding, over the coming months as this project comes on stream. So that's at Amity Hall and Essex Valley, in addition to Parnassus. And we're standing in a place where once fields were difficult to irrigate, where access to technology was limited. Today, with innovation and partnership, we're opening the way to harvest opportunity, turning challenges into growth. And the UK government is proud to have funded this vital agricultural development project, which speaks directly to the needs of Jamaica. Through a grant of over £17 million, so that's 3.5 billion Jamaican dollars, from the UK Caribbean Infrastructure Fund, the Southern Plains Agricultural Development Project will make a real difference for farming communities in St Catherine and Clarendon. This Parnassus Agro Park project in Clarendon is designating nearly 400 hectares of irrigated land to farmers and will be supplying nearly 9.6 million gallons of water per day, improving facilities for farmers to handle and store their harvests, and building 12 kilometres of new roads. And roads are so important, as we all know. But it's not just about building infrastructure. It's also about ensuring that support reaches those who need it most in an inclusive and equitable way, by strengthening the capacity of local farmers, including women, youth, and people with disabilities. And this was a key element of the project for both the UK and Jamaica, I know. And to that end, the financial criteria for leasing land have been made more flexible and generous for those that were here before. And importantly, a new matching grant scheme will be introduced to support low-income farmers, helping them to invest and innovate so they can grow more, earn more, and build more resilient livelihoods. As we all know, agriculture is the backbone of Jamaica's economy, and so this project is a really important part of the UK Caribbean Infrastructure Fund portfolio. The fund, which was launched in 2016, provides £350 million, or 72.3 billion Jamaican dollars, in grant funding across the Caribbean. But Jamaica is the joint largest beneficiary with an allocation of 11 billion Jamaican dollars. The fund's helping Caribbean countries build high-quality, climate-resilient infrastructure that will transform their economic growth and provide local opportunities while also having a positive social impact. So there are 13 capital projects in 9 countries, building roads, ports, water, sanitation systems, resilient energy facilities, and of course, these 2 agricultural development projects here in Jamaica, Southern Plains and Essex Valley. These were the 2 projects, when we consulted back in 2016, that were specifically chosen by the Jamaican government as the most highly valuable opportunities to transform agriculture in these areas, reducing farmers' vulnerability to climate change. And these projects are just 2 examples of the strong and growing partnership between the people of Jamaica and the people of the UK. So we're proud to stand here alongside Jamaica today in pursuing our shared goals, promoting growth, improving security, and building resilience to natural hazards and climate change. So I want to say a huge congratulations to the government of Jamaica on completing the first part of this project and for its collaborative and participatory approach, which has ensured strong community engagement throughout the project implementation. And we commend the National Irrigation Commission for your leadership on the project. And we particularly thank our partners, the Caribbean Development Bank, for providing oversight on delivery of the project and providing additional financing. So many congratulations. This is a day of celebration, and I look forward in the months ahead to seeing the other projects come on stream and having more such happy days of celebration. So thank you very much indeed for being here.
Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Her Excellency Judith Slater, British High Commissioner, Minister of Agriculture, Roy Green, Minister of State, Franklin Witter, other distinguished guests. Firstly, allow me to convey a heartfelt apology for our Vice President of Operations, Mr. Isaac Solomon of the Caribbean Development Bank. He's unable to join us today, but I am here and I will do my utmost best to represent the bank ably. First of all, I'm so glad to be back in Jamaica, my home country, and it's with deep pride and renewed purpose that I join you here today for the official opening of the Parnassus component of the Southern Plains Agricultural Development Project. And we see this as an initiative that strengthens a major step forward in Jamaica's agricultural transformation. But it's more than commissioning an irrigation system. Of course, it's the realization of a shared vision of a food-secure, climate-resilient Jamaica. This project emerges as a critical inflection point, you'll all agree, for Jamaica and our region, as climate change accelerates and trade dynamics shift. Our food systems face unprecedented pressures. The investment today is accordingly of high potential to help Jamaica navigate those challenges. Today we continue a journey to sow seeds of resilience, innovation, and prosperity with a view to building a more resilient food and nutrition security systems for generations to come. To our partners, the Government of the United Kingdom, we express our profound appreciation. Your investment through the Caribbean Infrastructure Partnership Fund, the UK CIF, exemplifies a shared visionary development cooperation. That funding has brought us here today, as we just heard, and as we prepare to deliver climate-resilient infrastructure, modern irrigation systems, and renewed opportunities for farming communities like this in Clarendon. For CDB, the Caribbean Development Bank, this is also a reflection of shared values and a joint commitment to sustainable and inclusive economic development. Ladies and gentlemen, here in Jamaica, this partnership extends beyond Parnassus. Of course, you just heard about similar investments, Essex Valley, and we have Amity Hall. And they're catalyzing a transformation of Jamaica's agriculture sector, addressing water security, climate adaptation, market access, human capital development. And these signal a recognition that, our climate resilience and food security are not peripheral concerns. Just to add very quickly that this is in very, very close alignment with our agriculture sector policy. First, climate resilience is a main pillar, and the system today is built to ensure functionality amid shifting rainfall and extreme weather events. I'm sure we're going to hear more about that. There's also inclusive development. True progress is measured not only in an increase in production and sales, as we know, but the improved lives of our farmers and other people in the communities. And there's a targeted matching grant scheme. Financing will be provided to smallholder farmers with a focus on marginalized and economically disadvantaged individuals, including women and youth, to enhance their capacity. I want to say that Jamaica this is a reaffirmation of our unwavering commitment to Jamaica. You're 17% of the bank's shareholding, so you're a vital member of the bank and a key driver of our shared regional agenda. You must, as the years move ahead, we must make leaps and bounds in building the enabling public systems for climate resilient agriculture to flourish and forge equitable market participation partnerships that help farmers. To the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Agro Investment Corporation, the National Irrigation Commission, and others, thank you for your leadership and cooperation. To our partners again from the United Kingdom, you have proven that this cooperation is grounded in mutual respect and a shared purpose, and this can deliver extraordinary impact. We will see that. Let today mark a turning point, not just for this community, but for the region, and the Caribbean Development Bank stands behind that. We look forward to the farmers using the investments to fuel intergenerational prosperity, to build a legacy of resilience and equity and prosperity that will nourish us for decades and decades to come. Thank you so much for making this investment a catalyst for a more food security Caribbean, one farmer at a time. Thank you and congratulations to all involved. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Indeed, as we have heard, this Parnassus project represents a monumental step forward in our efforts to build a more sustainable and resilient agriculture sector. The commitment from our international and local partners, including those who have just spoken, the UK Caribbean Infrastructure Fund, UK CIF, whose support has been crucial in funding this transformative project, will undoubtedly ensure its success and long-term impact. Once again, please put your hands together for both these distinguished ladies and ardent supporters of Jamaican farmers. The point I wanted to make is that you'd be very surprised how much effort these ladies have put into the project. Yes, we recall the days and nights when we are down in St. Elizabeth, sometimes eating a little fish when it gets pretty late, as we tour the areas and we're being motivated to complete the project on time, providing all those notes. Where is Barbara? PIOJ. Boy, she likes to hide around the back, but I can tell you, a tower of strength and support around there. Please give her a round of applause in making all these inward missions happen like clockwork. To the entire team from the UK CIF and the CDB, our sincere thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we are pleased to be entertained by a talented young man. He's a creator who is very poetic. He's very skilled, and he used poetry to amplify and celebrate the Jamaican culture. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Corey Rhymes. Mr. Rhymes, where are you? Please make him welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. How you doing? So like he said, my name is Corey Rhymes, and I'm coming from all the way from Portland just to, share some cultural vibes with you, all right? So I want you guys to help me a bit in this first part. So if you know the rest of the sentence, just say it, okay? So the ministry has a theme. And say it if you don't know. It says, grow what you eat and eat what you grow. Yes, lovely. Plenty hustle and bustles farmers face. Them get a blister, them brush it off and gone. Foreigners call it blister, but Jamaicans call it can. Right? The message for today is thank a farmer. Thank a farmer for the crops you eat. Ladies and gentlemen, clap the farmers. Let them feel appreciated in them seat. Yes, lovely, lovely, lovely. So, I'm not a farmer, but I have 2 goats. Then fenke, but then we do. You have to thank the farmer for even the meat we eat. Yeah, man, you have to thank the farmer too. So, how important are our farmers? That we can measure up on a scale. Let's just say, without our farmers, Jamaica would definitely fail. The sweet yellow yam, the banana we love so much, the onion, scallion, sweet pepper, all the scotch bonnet we cannot touch. Because me a one boy, me no like bun. So the pepper, me put one side. Yes. Give me the sweet potato. And the corn I saw me plant and died. Now, today is a very big day. 38 farmers get 38 lease. Land of them can plant them crops, and the rest of Jamaica can feast. The government do them work. A step in the right direction, I say. And if you continue like this, Jamaica get better day by day. So yes, we have to thank the farmers. You know, them so important, the love of the show. Because for sure, we are going to grow where we eat. But we also going to eat where them grow. Listen, man, we have to thank the farmers for sure. They're very important. You know, they plant the crops. And us Jamaicans, we're so blessed. We're so wonderful. We make some amazing, amazing dishes. Wouldn't you say? I believe that Jamaica has the best dishes. Don't you agree, guys? Yes, it doesn't sound like you don't believe it, though. Yes, man. World renowned and all of that. So this next one is called Jamaican dishes. So Jamaica have the best food. That's seasoned to the bone. You ever taste rice and peas so nice, you could have eat it alone? You lick your lip and say, the food is shot. To all that seasoned down and nice, you can't believe a rice and peas that. Prime Minister, when last I ate some good food? Boiled breadfruit and dasheen. Dumpling and banana with saltfish and baked bean. And all of the breadfruit now for boil, you know. You can roast some. Get all a cup of sour sap juice and breadfruit and run down. Me love Toto bad. When see my granny, she prefer blue jars. She said, Bammy and Musa bad like yas. But don't ask me and Musa, cause I promise I don't know. But my mother make the kind of potato pudding will make you curl up your toe. I can saltfish. White rice and curry goat. A problem when Jamaicans go river go run boat. Me not say the food is tired, but you will get caught in a loop. Whereas if I go reunion go drink the goated soup. A plenty food we have, not to mention rice and peas. That are the national Sunday dinner, whether locally or overseas. The oxtail is another one. That make you can't straighten your toe. Me just a drop off of the phone, off of the bone. The food are the best. I want to know. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Corey Rhymes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rhymes. Please give him another round of applause. Your piece was beautiful. It captured the essence of agriculture and its vital role in shaping our culture, boss. We are very, very happy to have you here. It is now my distinct pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce a leader whose vision and dedication have been instrumental in the advancement of Jamaica's agriculture sector. His efforts to drive the transformation of agriculture, fisheries and mining, ensuring that projects like this one, the Parnassus Irrigation System and the Agro Park here comes to life and have a lasting impact on our communities. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining.
Thank you very much to our Permanent Secretary Spence, who is our chairman for today. Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, our British High Commissioner, Her Excellency Judith Slater, Minister without portfolio, Minister Morgan, who called to say he is on his way, State Minister Franklin Witter, who is always here working very hard to move agriculture, fisheries and mining forward, the Member of Parliament for Northern Clarendon, Mr. Dwight Sibley's, good to see you. The Mayor, Councillor Joel Williams, I'm happy that you reminded people that the last time we had something like this in agriculture was in the 1980s. I wasn't born yet. I wasn't born as yet. CTD, Courtney Cole, and other members of the Central Ministry team, of course, are friends from the Caribbean Development Bank. I love when they're here. It means the money is here. Dr. Newman, good to have you and the team here. Our chairman of the Agro-Invest Corporation, Mr. Ian Murray, chairman of the, and members of the board, chairman of the National Irrigation Commission, Mr. Vitus Evans, and members of that board, CEO of the National Irrigation Commission, Mr. Joseph Giles, and members of the team, project manager, Mr. Williams. And the NIC has done something very good today. They have brought in all their administrative professionals to join us because today is Administrative Professionals Day. Can we say happy? Yeah, give them a big round of applause. Our CEO of the Agro-Invest Corporation, Mr. Vivian Scully, and members of the Agro-Invest Corporation team. I know our JAS team is out here, led by President Dobson and CEO Grant other heads of agencies. RADA is here, our parish manager from RADA is here, and other parishes, the RADA team is out here. Members of the media. I'm doing all of this so the Prime Minister doesn't have to do it. Members of the media, farmers, agro-processors, PIOJ is also here, and we have to, the PIOJ is also here. They did a lot of hand-holding to ensure that we could be here. The Heart Trust Emily Park team is here, and they have to do a lot of work in relation to training here. Ladies and gentlemen, the most important people here are, in fact, our farmers. So, good morning, everybody. I really do stand here with immense pride and joy as we commission the Parnassus Irrigation System, and launch our Parnassus Agro Park. This is extremely important to us in agriculture because we know that for decades farmers have faced tremendous challenges with water and access to water, and tremendous challenges around tenureship of land. And I see Mr. Chin sits here feeling very proud because he is in Southwest Clarendon, and a number of the farmers who will benefit are from Southwest Clarendon. So today we will not only be commissioning the irrigation system, but importantly, we will be issuing leases to farmers so they will have the tenureship they need to invest and drive their own wealth creation. This is part of our Southern Plains Agricultural Development Project, which, as you heard, comes by way of the UK Caribbean Investment Infrastructure Fund to the tune of £17 million. And you would have heard from the High Commissioner. The UK set up a fund for infrastructure across the Caribbean and asked countries to submit proposals around what they believe are the best use for those resources. What could move the country forward in the best possible way. And I think we all can be proud that this government prioritized agriculture and irrigation as the best use of those funds. And we did it for the farmers because, to be honest, of all the classes of people in Jamaica, the most important and the most resilient are our farmers. You don't want to clap for that. People don't like when I say the most important because everybody in every profession believes that their profession are most important. But no matter what profession you are, no matter whether you're rich or you're poor, you all have to eat. Not true? So the most important person is the person who is providing that food. And this is Farmers Month. And our campaign for Farmers Month is Thank a Farmer. So I all want us to say thank you, farmers, after 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, farmers. Absolutely. And you know why we should thank them especially? Last year was a tough year for farmers. We started the year in drought, and we were getting resources for drought. Then we had our earliest, biggest ever at that time of the year hurricane. And then when we thought we were out of the woods, we had non-stop rain and flood. But yet still, our farmers are out there doing what they love. They are the true Jamaican spirit. You pick him up, you lick him down, he bounce right back. What a hard man for dead. That is the Jamaican farmers. And we don't believe in just saying thank you as a government. We say thank you in action, not in talk. Because talk is easy. But love has to be a verb. You have to show that you love in a very tangible way. So we're saying thank you today to our farmers in Farmers Month by ensuring that they have access to over 700 acres of irrigated arable land right here in Parnassus. This will be managed by the Agro-Invest Corporation and the National Irrigation Commission. In fact, what we are doing, we are transforming former sugarcane lands into productive investment-ready zones with modern agricultural infrastructure. Let me highlight, we are not displacing the farmers that were there. Very important. We have reserved of the 700 acres, at least half of it, to ensure that the farmers who were there, along with youth, women, and persons with disabilities, they will have priority access to these lands. Through the National Irrigation Commission, we have drilled and developed 3 new replacement wells, which will collectively supply 9.6 million gallons of water every day to meet the crop irrigation needs of the park. But we never just did the wells. In fact, we've installed 13.6 kilometers of pipeline to bring the water from the wells to the farm. We have installed the pumps, and we have also put in pump houses, fire suppression systems, state-of-the-art modern equipment, and rehabilitated and constructed 12 kilometers of road in the agro park so that you can get to your farms. That deserves a big round of applause. Additionally, we have done some drainage work because we know we're going through periods of intense rainfall, so we want to ensure that when the rain comes, you will not be flooded. Let me quickly point out that this is just phase 1 of the project. Prime Minister, I know you will be happy to know, because you have directed that this must be so, that in all our new agro parks, they must have irrigation, they must have a good road network, but additionally, they must have storage and packing facilities. We are going to move to construct storage and packing facilities so that in times of glut, we can store, extend the shelf life, and serve our people. Additionally, we don't want you farmers to have to run up and down to find the National Irrigation Commission, to find the AIC, to find RADA. So we're going to construct some administrative offices down here in Parnassus, so you can go and find the representatives right there to serve you. This is just one of our projects. And you would have heard the High Commissioner. And I really have to pause a little bit to thank her for her leadership. Can we give our High Commissioner a big round of applause? I'll be honest, we have had some good UK High Commissioners. Very, very good. And this High Commissioner, since she has been here, she has visited this area and Essex Valley, I don't know how many times. But I think she appreciated that it is important to come out in the field to see what is happening and to ensure that the contractors on the ground recognize that at the highest level, this project is getting the attention. And it has worked. It has helped Mr. Williams big time, because when he says the High Commissioner and the Minister and the CTD and the Permanent Secretary is coming, contractor them start to work double time to ensure that we meet the requirements. So beyond this pad, we want to have our Prime Minister very soon to come down with us to Essex Valley. Prime Minister, we are 90% complete with the installation of pipes and fittings. We have done the rehabilitation of most of the roads and drainage. We're currently doing some work. You may not know, for those of you who don't know Essex Valley, but we've laid over 60 kilometers of pipe. And we have rehabilitated over 30 kilometers of roadways. All the pipes have been installed and they've passed the pressure testing. We're 85% complete with the construction of the administrative building, 84% complete with the construction of the agro-processing facility. So Prime Minister, we want to get you down there, because that processing facility can store up to 22 containers of produce. That will be the biggest we have built in decades in agriculture. This is a part of our strategic pillars, which revolve around the new face of food. We're focused on food security, agribusiness development, climate smart expansion, climate smart technologies, and export expansion. But not just in talk, in action. This is about expanding domestic production. This is about creating jobs and providing opportunities in farming, in logistics, in agro-processing. This underscores that this government is serious about driving food security and driving agriculture. On the other note, I have to commend the teams from the Agro-Invest Corporation and from the National Irrigation Commission. These are the biggest agricultural projects, Prime Minister, that we've ever undertaken. And a lot of people thought that we would not have the capacity to get it done. And I have to single out Mr. Williams, our project manager. He doesn't like this, but stand so the people can see you. There was a time that when the PS and I sat down, we were very concerned. And Mr. Williams answered the call, stepped up, and really got this project to where we are today. We are about transforming agriculture, revolutionizing agriculture, embarking, as the Prime Minister has mandated, on a new era of agriculture by improving access to land, irrigation, and technology. We are always about putting Jamaica first and ensuring that in everything we do, we choose Jamaica by creating a more food secure, resilient Jamaica. This is only the beginning. And I see all my agencies from mining are here, JBM, the JBI. Don't feel left out, because Prime Minister, part of what we're doing is repurposing old bauxite lands and providing it to farmers so they can do what they love. We are creating a brand new Jamaica. God bless you.
Thank you, Minister Green. Very impactful, very inspiring. Please give him another round of applause. You know, Honorable Prime Minister, before you came this morning, you know, when I arrived, a farmer walked up to me. Mr. Spence, the Prime Minister come for true? So I said, yes, you know, he wouldn't make a promise and we wouldn't set up all of this. He's not going to be here. Him said, that is good, you know. Me just want to know, say, income, you know. Me just want to know, say, income. You know, if you do nothing more than just come true, you know. So I said to him, I bet you did not know that the Prime Minister is a farmer himself. He said, I didn't know that. Well, I said, yes. His father is a farmer, currently very active in St. Elizabeth. The Prime Minister has his own greenhouse and is very, very keen on technology application in it. Water timing and all kind of thing. It's a serious matter. It's mango season. Some of you don't know, but Prime Minister, I'm pleased to advise, it's $5,000 a dozen. You could be supplementing your income from right up there. The only thing I'm asking you, let me get one for taste this year. I tell you, I'll say one more thing, you know. All of this that you are seeing here looking so nice, it's a facade. Prime Minister, this is truly a facade. So when people say you go and you turn on water, you do a thing and then the thing vanish after, I'm guaranteeing that this will vanish. Because where you are, ladies and gentlemen, you are on a farmer's plot. All of this tent, all the marl that you see lay down there will go shortly. When you come back here, it's going to be crops. So, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm preempting all of that to let the country know that this is a facade and what will truly be here is serious agriculture production. If you look around, it is land clearing that is taking place. And we're going to turn our water over there so for irrigation in this very plot. Right? So, this is a facade. But it is truly a facade before the genuine and real purpose for what we intend to have here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know you have been looking forward for this moment. And I have already spoken about the Prime Minister's presence. So, you know he's a visionary. consistently steered this nation towards growth and prosperity, a champion for the farmers, a champion for the poor, whose leadership has been pivotal in guiding Jamaica's journey through what? Challenges and opportunities. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hand together and make welcome Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, to deliver the keynote address.
Permanent Secretary, I don't know why you have felt the need to tell this audience my business. Yes, I do have a passion for agriculture. My father is currently a farmer, a struggling farmer. I spent many summers on his farm, and so I have a deep appreciation for the struggles that farmers go through. Weather, finance, and of course, this very strange thing we call predial larceny. I have searched for this in other countries, and I can't seem to find it. It is a Jamaican affliction. 2-foot posts. So I was very pleased as I entered the facility when I spoke with the senior superintendent in charge of the parish, who told me of the amazing reduction in murders and violent crimes, over a 49% reduction since the beginning of the year. I offered my commendations to the police team. They have done an amazing job. But I commend you, the citizens of the parish, because your own cooperation is also important in the reduction of violence, and I encourage you to continue to cooperate with the strategies and policies of the government and with the tactics of the police in reducing these murders. But your cooperation is going to be needed even more, because the police pointed out that they do have a strategy to deal with predial larceny in the area, and that strategy relies heavily on the cooperation of the farmers and the citizens generally, so that we can finally put an end to those 2-foot posts. Minister Green, thank you for bigging up everybody, but I must big up our British High Commissioner. When David Cameron was the Prime Minister, he visited Jamaica sometime in 2015, and he launched the Caribbean Investment Fund. You see how long ago that was? I was then leader of the opposition. I had an opportunity to meet him, and this was part of the discussion. So I'm very happy today, in 2025, 10 years after, to be able to turn over to the farmers of Clarendon this agro park. Jamaica has about 40% of its landmass which could be considered arable, meaning you can farm it. Of that, presently, only about 15% would be irrigated. 15%. With this and Essex Valley, the Southern Plains Agricultural Development Project, SPAD it is called, we will probably get close to 20% of our arable lands irrigated. That's still not enough. I want you to consider what that means. It means that you can only exercise some degree of control over your agriculture in only 15% of your arable land. The rest of your lands would be subject to the vicissitudes, the change in weather. So the output, the productivity that you would like to get would be subject to climate change issues, weather issues, and that's not good for sustained agriculture. And so the strategy of the government, which is why when we were asked, what would you like the support that is coming from the Caribbean Infrastructure Fund to be deployed into? We said, let's put it into making our agriculture resilient and sustainable. Let's build infrastructure that mitigates climate, weather, and other factors. And so that is what we're doing here today. This is a big thing. Now, we have another big project that is being worked on. Minister Green pointed out that the last time the Minister of Agriculture did anything of this magnitude, which would be Spring Plains, he wasn't born yet. Well, to give you a sense of the generations, I was. But even before I was born, the politician after whom I was named, Michael Manley, had the idea, he posited the idea, of harnessing the water from the Black River to irrigate the Pedro Plains. That was 50 odd years ago. It wasn't done. I'm pleased to say that we are well on our way to doing it. And when we do Pedro Plains, which is well on its way, we would have moved our irrigated lands to being about 50% of our arable lands. Can you imagine the fundamental shift in our agricultural productivity when we are able to mitigate and control for weather impacts on our arable land? That's fundamental. But this is not the kind of achievement that voters celebrate, unfortunately. A lot of it is voters don't know this, some don't understand it. But the farmers who have been practicing mulching for decades in southern St. Elizabeth, because that is how they mitigated the weather effect, when they now have reliable water that is coming from pipes and irrigation systems that they can plan in advance, they will see the transformation. And what the average voter will see is far more foodstuff in their supermarket shelves and in the Coronation Market and in Linstead Market and in all over. But what they will also see is a stability in price. So this will have an impact on the cost of food. So yes, you, the average voter listening to me, who say, oh, this benefit me. This will only benefit the little farmer them in Parnassus. No, my friend. It is these kinds of investment that benefit you. The cost of living crisis that we face, a part of it is an agriculture crisis. It is precisely because we have low productivity in agriculture why we have a food price crisis. And until our voters make that connection to inform how they vote, they will not get good agricultural policies. What they will satisfy with are easy but destructive policies that say, well, we should put a tax on imported goods, rather than seeking to address the fundamental issues, which are more difficult, which are not going to happen in one election cycle, as this did not happen in one election cycle. This started in 2019. I wonder if you see what I'm saying. That the transformation of Jamaica is not going to be this. It is not going to be stupid promises, even lovely sounding promises. And as we are in the promising season, when politicians are going to come to tell you that they will give you horses that can fly, the worry is not the politicians who are going to tell you that the horse that they are selling can fly. The worry is the voter who believes. That is the worry. And therefore, as a politician, who, yes, I will come with gifts on mules, I have to also be very frank with you and tell you what the realities are. And that has always been me. Nobody can question that. I tell you as it is. I have learned a little bit that I have to put a little sugar on it here and there. I have learned. But I am still telling you as it is. So I can stand here today and tell you, not a promise, I am delivering on a commitment, and I'm telling you what else is coming. We are now at approximately 15% irrigated lands. After this project, we will be at approximately 20%, and when we complete the Pedro Plains, which is it is going to cross the election cycle, because it's a multi-year project, but when we complete it, we would be at about 50%. And that will be a profound shift in Jamaica's agriculture. So I could very well end my presentation here, but my speechwriters would be upset. So it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the official opening of the Parnassus Agro Park, an important step forward in our ongoing mission to transform agriculture in Jamaica. Today, we not only celebrate the commissioning of critical agricultural infrastructure, but we also recognize its role in my government's pivot towards inclusive, sustainable, and climate-resilient growth in rural agriculture. Today, we are planting the seeds of resilience and opportunity. This agro-park represents a future where Jamaican farmers are empowered, communities are revitalized, and our country moves closer to a competitive and climate-resilient agriculture sector. Agriculture is not just a pillar of our economy, it is the foundation of our national food security. As global supply chains face increasing pressure and climate change threatens traditional productive systems, it is more important than ever that we as a country can feed ourselves. A strong agricultural sector ensures that our people have access to affordable, nutritious food, even in times of crisis. It reduces our dependence on imports, shields us from external shocks, and creates the conditions for real independence, economic and social. In a world marked by geopolitical tensions, rising energy costs, and unpredictable commodity markets, food security is now a matter of national security. But food security is also an important part of our economic policy. Food security is seen as an important part of what they would call the microeconomic policy. Agriculture, how do we get farmers onto land, get the prices stabilized, put in place infrastructure to support them. But in a sense, it is also a part of what you would describe as the kind of macroeconomic policy as well, because having a strong agricultural sector is a buffer to inflation. And I want to spend just a minute here to drive home that point. Because when the average Jamaican hears about inflation, the first thing that comes to mind is my purchasing power is going to be eaten out because the prices of goods have increased. And therefore, our wage negotiations, and I'm not dealing with wage negotiations here, but immediately there would be pressure on wages to be adjusted upwards in order to compensate for the loss of purchasing power due to inflation. I want you to think back for me, all of you who are here, including those of you who were born in the 80s and 90s, that's the beginning of your world, who may not understand the tragedy that Jamaica went through in the 90s with inflation. And in the 2000s, early, the impact of inflation then. The conversation then was about the macroeconomic adjustment. So it's either you're going to increase your wages or increase your interest rates to keep your currency stable to avoid currency-induced inflation or imported inflation. But we have never had a conversation about the impact of increasing productivity on inflation. That's not a consideration in the Jamaican context. In other words, for the last 4 or 5 decades, we have not addressed the issue of productivity. So the permanent secretary uses a term facade. He says it's a facade. The strategy of constantly trying to adjust wages to keep up with inflation is a facade. We're just tricking ourselves, keeping ourselves in a loop where we are constantly losing real value because we are not increasing our output. So what you have to see this as is an attempt to have a genuine, real increase in Jamaica's productivity, in Jamaica's output. And this is what will have a real impact on inflation. Now, granted, farmers, some of the inflation that happens in Jamaica, particularly in the past, happened because of bad government policy. Now, we have put bad government policy out of the mix by putting in place strong institutions, independent central bank, strong fiscal structures to control government policy, and now we have inflation targeting. And so you will see that Staten released this month figures which were incredible. I think it was something like 0% inflation. In other words, meaning that government's policy is having very limited impact on inflation. So having solved that, then what would be the other drivers that could create inflation? Yes, imported inflation, and sometimes inflation induced because of supply issues. So for example, if there is bad weather and because of a drought, the output of farmers fall, what is going to happen to the price of goods in the market? It's going to go up and it's going to reflect as inflation. But if you make the hard choice that even when you're going to get costs for not doing things immediately, but you have made that long-term investment in digging the wells, in cutting the roads, in cutting the land, in getting the titles for the farmers, in building the reservoir to store the water, in buying those pumps, which take a long time, to make sure that when this comes into full operation, rain or shine, you will have a level of output that will keep prices stable. That is how you impact inflation and cost of living. This administration has changed the way in which government operates. We now need to change the way in which our electorate thinks. Because the old way of thinking is not going to solve the challenges of today and the challenges you face. So everybody says, yes, increase the minimum wage, which we have been doing gradually because we don't want an economic fallout. Everybody's quarreling about their wages and it's unfair, and I understand the issues. And we're trying our best to slowly make the adjustments so that we don't have an economic fallout. But beyond that, that is not going to be the solution for Jamaica. Beyond that, the solution has to be that each and every one of us must increase our productivity. It is in the increase in our output that the unit cost goes down and therefore the prices remain stable. How do I get the average Jamaican to appreciate that and shift the mentality to look at how do we become more productive? What this is an investment in our productivity. Every farmer who comes onto this land is immediately more productive than farmers struggling out there without water, without storage, without proper roads. And so the objective of the government, Minister Green, if he were released to tell you the discussions that we have in cabinet, he would know how much beating him get. To get these projects going, to get them out of the ground. Now, I'm not saying here I'm 100% pleased, because I do recall several conversations, even with former ministers, about why is this project taking so long? It shouldn't have taken this long. And as I look at it on reflection, this project is 2 years late. 2 years. Why? For another reason that I have said, Jamaica must address its public bureaucracy. You know, we have gotten caught into this culture of analysis paralysis. Yes. And there are those who will seek to say that you are corrupt, that you are trying to circumvent procedures. But what they are really wanting to do is to hide behind a wall of circuitous regulation that leads to nowhere. And in my mind, that is the corruption. It has no bearing on whether or not things are delivered quickly, whether or not the farmers benefit, whether or not the customer is served, no benefit to them. And we are going to destroy that. We are going to break down that wall of unnecessary bureaucracy. Things that don't make sense. Entities that have been formed and are on the public's budget year after year and can't show what they give to the public, those allocations must be questioned. There are many government entities that claim your taxes. They live only to serve themselves. When you ask them, why I have to fill out this form? Why I have to do that? Why this? They can't tell you. They just say, well, it's the law. And for those who are quick to be critical, just sit down and listen. Because Jamaica is not the only country going through this. I listened to Keir Starmer make his presentation after I made my pivot speech. And it was as if he took my pivot speech and reread it. And he made sweeping changes, or will make sweeping changes, spoke about the NHS, spoke about digitization and other things. But it's not just Keir Starmer. I mean, I don't want to draw on Doge in the United States. But just up the road from us in the Dominican Republic, who would be in our peer group, they recognize this and they are moving swiftly ahead to make their bureaucracy agile. We have to rethink the dense layer of bureaucracy that we have placed on our public servants. They don't want to innovate or take any risk, lest their names be dragged mercilessly in the public domain. That is not going to help us grow. I keep saying, there are those who believe that they can deal with corruption by shaming people, destroying people's reputations. But they will never speak about inefficiency. They will never examine a system for its inefficiency. And what costs us as Jamaican taxpayers is inefficiency. Oftentimes, the flip side of corruption is inefficiency. And if you want to deal with corruption, deal with inefficiency. Treat with the systems that move slowly. Treat with the systems that have circuitous regulations. Because in systems that are efficient, there is no room for corruption. Because efficient systems, by definition, are transparent systems. So when we talk about addressing the bureaucracy of Jamaica, we want to make our bureaucracy transparent. We want performance to be evaluated so that you can see and match effort to outcome. So that there is no secret veil that separates someone's effort versus outcome. And that's where we have to move with dealing with bureaucracy. So this project, in my estimation, should have been at least a year and a half earlier. So our growth has been delayed. And we accept it because, there's a thinking in our culture that if it didn't take long, it wasn't well done. That's very strange for the fastest people in the world. So, Kristalina Georgieva, the head of the IMF, she made a presentation recently speaking about the global challenges as a result of the emerging trade conflicts. And in her presentation, which I thought was very sobering and very thoughtful, she said that she is not expecting that there will be a recession. However, she is expecting that there will be a slowdown, and they will probably come out with revised figures for global growth. And she is also expecting that there will be some inflation, but no hyperinflation, which is, I think, a reasonable expectation. But bear in mind that is just an outlook. It all depends on the moving parts that we cannot at this time predict where they will go. But she also said that when these major changes are happening globally, it is the small countries that are impacted the most. Small countries are impacted the most. Jamaica has been this way before. In the 70s, there was a global move to increase oil prices. Again, many of you were not born, some of you were there, but how you appreciated what was happening, you may not have had this perspective on it. But countries that control an important global resource, oil, OPEC, decided that they would come together and control, or rather increase, the price of oil internationally. And that led to massive economic dislocations in Jamaica, precipitated a debt crisis for Jamaica. How did we maneuver ourselves in that period of time? And the truth is that the impact from the 70s and the 80s followed us through to now. Are we any different today facing these global changes in international trade than we were 40 years ago, 50 years ago, when global oil prices changed? Is our economy any different? And I will say to you that the fundamental principle of this government is that Jamaica must be economically independent. Michael Manley had his own way of saying it. He said, self-reliance. It's essentially the same thing, but not necessarily always the same thing, but the same principle. We must be economically independent as a people. And how are we different today? Today, and our policies are very much aligned with what the head of the IMF has pointed out. She said that a lot of the vulnerability of small countries is because they are highly indebted or are facing climbing debt. Today, Jamaica is still relatively indebted, not highly, but the difference is we have policies in place that are driving down our debt, even in the face of crisis. Even when there are politicians who would say, ignore reducing the debt, spend now. We have not done that. We have remained committed to driving down the debt so that when the global shocks occur, which they will, Jamaica will be able to withstand those global shocks. And the impacts on you and your life will be minimized. So Jamaica is totally different today than it was 40, 50, 30, even 20 years ago. Secondly, she says that we must build infrastructure to mitigate against climate impact. And that is what we have been doing. If you look at this here, this is exactly what this agro park is. We are building infrastructure that will mitigate the impact of climate. But she also said that we have to improve our regulatory and bureaucratic environment in order to be agile. And that is the next stage of our government's policy now, to pivot, to create the competitive advantage with our bureaucracy. And let me just quickly say why that is important. Just up the road from us, the Dominican Republic has landed a major investment, which is as a result of the change in global supply chain because of the change in trade policies. It's a multi-billion US dollar investment into their economic free zone. Why did they choose the Dominican Republic? One, they do have labor, and there is some arbitrage in wages. Secondly, they have an established special economic zones, been there for almost 60 years, with specified incentives. We have just built ours, and we will build out the Caymana's economic zone. Thirdly, their bureaucracy is more agile and responsive to foreign investment. And so if Jamaica is to compete in its peer group, the way in which our intellectuals and some of our public opinion leaders think about our society will have to change and understand that what they held sacrosanct a decade ago does not hold today. We must be agile. We must become efficient. We must become more productive. And we must become more peaceful as a people. And that is what this administration is driving for. That is not with any sugarcoating. That is not with any beautiful speaking. That is just telling you what the realities are. So I appeal to you in this promising season. Pay attention to the global trends and consider which administration can best handle these difficult seas that the ship of Jamaica faces. Who can best carry us into safe harbor, and who has been carrying us in these difficult waters without any form of collapse, without any form of overturning, without going astray, running aground. It is this administration. And so every week, this has never happened in the history of Jamaica. Every week, I'm in the field doing this, handing over a major project, turning on a water supply, housing scheme, everything we're doing. Because we have been a working government, not a promising government. We are a working government. We are delivering to the people. And we do it bearing in mind that our development must be inclusive. You have approximately 700 acres here at Parnassus, an old sugar plantation. This was sugarcane lands. And we have allotted 400 of those 700 acres specifically for small farmers. So I don't want to hear this argument that we're leaving out small man out of development. Rubbish! Everything that we do, we think about every sector of Jamaica. So we're making sure that our small farmers are incorporated and included right here at Parnassus. And then, out of that, we have allocated certain acreages for women, youth, and persons with disabilities. This is what development looks like. So, it therefore, and I should also say that there were some persons farming here before, and we sat with them. Some of them are here. And we said to you, look, you are farmers. We love you and respect you, but we know you're not the chaka-chaka business. And I know you're not comfortable in a chaka-chaka business. You want to be properly recognized. And so they made sure to give you proper lease arrangements. Some of you went to Hart and got trained. That's what we take care of our people. Yes. So, 240 farmers were trained. Yes, so, that is what growth and development and inclusive government looks like. So all them a talk. And I call up my name. Them can't get me out of the game. So my friends, it was my great pleasure being with you. You have been a wonderful audience. God bless you. Farm enough, grow enough. Choose Jamaica.
Thank you, Prime Minister Holness. Please give him another round of applause. Lessons in social living and economics presented in a very simplified, pragmatic way. You can't miss it, It's like 000 in economics and in management. If you want to learn how to run a country, you can listen to the Prime Minister. I bet all of you feel empowered like you could go and run it yourself. Budding politicians around, can't get him out of the game. You understand me? Work with it. Work with it. Prime Minister, at this time we want to hand over the leases that you mentioned, because after that kind of speech, there's nothing else to do more than to make the farmers happier. But as we proceed to do that, Prime Minister, I want to remind you that the citrus plants that you needed to add to your citrus orchard, they are still available at the ministry. And you might and while people bemoan the absence of lime is in it too. Nice limes for you. I suspect Mrs. Holness will, for the sugar-coated idea, squeeze some lime in it and get it tasting like lemonade. So at this time, we are pleased to proceed with the symbolic handover of leases for 6 of our dedicated farmers, but in total, we have close to 40 of them here. Now, in the interest of time, we're going to be handing over some, but everybody will get an opportunity to take a photograph with the Prime Minister after the leases have been handed over to the 6. So the first two will be presented by Prime Minister Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. And I now invite him and Mr. Scully, the CEO of the Agro Invest Corporation, to facilitate this process over to my left, where those leases are going to be presented. You can come forward, Mr. Scully and Prime Minister, over to the left. Farmers to receive leases at this time from the Prime Minister. We want to invite Noel Reid. Mr. Reid, please give him a round of applause. Please come forward. He occupies 12.34 acres of the agro park, and he currently growing cash crops and tubers. Mr. Reid was an informal farmer on the lands for over 10 years and has since been formalized. Please give Mr. Reid a round of applause. You want to move this? No, but you're going to block it. Yeah. All right. Next up, Chanel Henry, 29 years old. She occupies 93 acres. Oh, his father. Her father. The lease will be collected by her father, Mr. Vendris Henry. But his daughter occupies 93 acres, which she plans to use for orchard crops and pepper production. Miss Henry is a new investor and a beaming example of youth maximizing on the opportunities to excel in agriculture. Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Yes. Farmers to receive leases from the Honorable Minister. Please come forward, Minister Green. We want to call on stage here Mr. Roy Martin and Keone Smith, who have joint lease to occupy 6.13 acres of land, and they are also in the business of cash crops and tubers. Both of them, please give them a round of applause. Give them a round of applause. We also want to invite Colleen Walker and Anita Facey, another joint lease, but they occupy 11.5 acres of land and are also in the business of cash crops and tubers. Minister and Prime Minister, these are professional members of the Hard Trust NTA staff. Supplementing income like you, Mr. Prime Minister. In farming. Thank you very much, Minister. We now invite our State Minister, Honorable Franklin Witter. And we are going to be asking to join him on stage Julian Crooks, Israel, operating on 6 acres of land. She intends to grow Scotch bonnet pepper, sweet potatoes, and sweet corn. Congratulations. We also want to invite Dorette James, who occupies 5.6 acres of land and also intends to grow cash crop and tubers. Please give her a round of applause. Great. Please give them all a round of applause. Gentlemen, you may take your seat. Now, we have heard from our leaders and stakeholders, but it's important that we also hear from the people at the heart of this initiative, our farmers. And so at this time, we will hear a response on behalf of the lease recipients and the wider farming community. Please welcome a proud farmer and one of the beneficiaries of today's lease handover, Miss Anita Facey. Let us receive her warmly as she comes to share a few words.
Our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Dermot Spence, our Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. What the list gone? Where's the protocol list? My Prime Minister, a visionary leader, Dr. Michael Andrew Holness. The Minister of Agriculture in the same Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Minister Floyd Green, our State Minister, Minister Witter. Other distinguished guests, all protocols have been established, but I must point out our British High Commissioner. Welcome, Ms. Slater. I am Anita Hall Facey, for those who know me. Hall is my middle name. I am a proud recipient of land today. A resident of the Ebony Park community, which is smack in the middle of Tollgate, Clarendon, along the agricultural belt of Clarendon. You know those roads that will be improved because we don't believe in flying horses, Prime Minister? Yes, it is with humility that I stand here today on behalf of my fellow land lease recipients, expressing appreciation to the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the British High Commission, the Agro Investment Corporation, the National Irrigation Commission, and all the other key stakeholders and agencies who have provisioned us the opportunity to access not just land, but also a new start for Jamaican farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just about land ownership. It is about empowerment, prosperity, economic stability, and the future of our nation. Land is not just a physical asset. It is a cornerstone of economic development, social stability, and cultural heritage. According to the World Bank's collection of development indicators in 2022, 38.5% of our land was posited as agricultural land. And as our Prime Minister said today, it is 40%. Isn't that growth, my people? This lease acquisition is not just documentary evidence, it is a gateway for Jamaica to achieve its Vision 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. While we strive to mitigate the paradigm shifts associated with climate change and food security, the lands that are now in our possession will be used for three key areas. Firstly, to increase the nation's gross domestic product via sound entrepreneurial practices. Secondly, to reduce our food importation bill. So firstly to say, Jamaica aims to reduce our food importation bill by 25%, and we can say that today we are well on our way, as this is aligned with the initiative of CARICOM. Thirdly, social stability. The sense of land ownership fosters a stable and cohesive society whilst promoting the development of our communities. As a proud co-owner of 11.5 acres of land, the property will be used by myself and Ms. Colleen Walker to produce cassava. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to produce cassava. My grandmother used to make me ring the clock in the night when we should be studying for CXC. I don't have maths now, even though I am an educator. But nevertheless, that's not why we're here. Right? So, as part of this cassava production, there will be fiscal opportunities, not just for my fellow landowner and myself, but also for Jamaica. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining projected Jamaica will produce 31,833 metric tons of cassava this year, and Colleen and my cassava never counting there, so Minister, is more than the 31,833 tons. And secondly, we believe in environmental sustainability. The crop will also contribute to the mitigation of soil erosion and the improvement of soil health right in this agricultural belt. We also believe that our land ownership will lead to job creation. As an educator, we believe in work-based learning, and not bringing up my organization now, but I don't know the organization, right? So we believe in work-based learning. We grapple with crime and violence, but with a skilled society and educated society, farmers ultimately contribute to the growth and the development and the increase in productivity, and that is what we intend to do. We will also be reducing our health bill, because when we have good food, we have good health, and we look nice, and you notice those of us who were born before the 80s, how we look, all right, because of good food, right, Prime Minister? The cassava will lead to the retention of our culture. Many of our young people don't know what Bami is. They don't know. Some people still believe that Bami is something that is sold in a supermarket. They don't know it comes from cassava, right? And so we intend to change that narrative. We're also into building communities. We have to pass through several communities to come here. But this is one Jamaica. And so this project that is phenomenal, historical, will be used to transform and build communities. And finally, to increase food security. There's enough food in Jamaica, no child should ever go to bed hungry. There's enough food, we have some nice fluffy dogs that we feed and our neighbors' children are squall out. Farmers, it is our job to change this narrative. In closing, saying thanks to the agencies involved in this historical occasion is just mere words, but our true gratitude will be seen in heightened production and increased economic development. As agriculturalists, and by extension, stewards of the parcels of land entrusted to us today, we are committed to making Jamaica a place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. God bless you all.
What a day. What a day, what a day. Glorious day. Please give her another round of applause. When you plant cassava, Miss Facey, and you're headed into the hurricane season, like we're about to go in now, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice, which I didn't get. But if the hurricane is coming, seriously coming, you can just prune the cassava, and it will just recover immediately. No, nobody never did tell me that when they are worried about the hurricane burial that came. And so I lost 20 acres. Can you imagine that? 1 acre survived, and off that 1 acre, I think I made $1.5 million. Yes, 1 acre survived. So, Mr. Prime Minister, when I recommend farming to you, you understand that you're talking to a farmer too. So we're going to keep it farming. They report in the media, the Gleaner, the newspapers, that persons are turning to farming and having a bright view of it. It is not per chance, you know. The Prime Minister would have explained, the Minister would have explained, we would have gotten the support. People are seeing that farming is a serious business for this country. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining has been working towards this kind of pivot for years. And so we are very proud, humbled, and happy that we are seeing that kind of turn. Right? What we are asking for in agriculture, if I take a lesson from the Prime Minister's presentation, I'll add there are 4 critical things. One of them is infrastructure, and that's what we are dealing with. And on the infrastructure, you know, roads, storage facilities, even technology, I'll put on the infrastructure. Another thing that we need is funding. He mentioned it. I'll just categorize funding in 2 ways. Investments and financing. Another thing that we need is a policy framework that supports all of that. And that was mentioned. And critically, the human resource management. Anywhere investment is taking place, you want to have the kind of skills, competencies, the kind of energy to support it. As a matter of fact, the Prime Minister put it down to the productivity of the people. Yes? And that's where we are. And the ministry is proud that we have been getting that kind of support. Yes? And we need more of it, especially on the investment side. And so this is why this is so critically important. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for being here. But I'll say, we are going to be moving to the unveiling of the sign for the Agro Park, as well as we are going to be moving to the commissioning of the system. And as we do that, I want the executive team, specially invited guests, to move in that direction, while the entire team inside here can be a part of it, but do not crowd the area. We will then do a tour, because Prime Minister, farmers are actually in the field right now farming, and we are hoping that you'll be able to see the activity that is being pursued. Sorry? You want him to plant as well? He doesn't. I told you he's a farmer, so he doesn't really have to demonstrate, but that's fine if you want to see. and so we will proceed in a small vehicle that will take us on that tour. Refreshment is provided. And so while the small team, go on that tour to look at the actual field out there, you will be refreshed. At this point in time, therefore, I would like to ask the Prime Minister to come forward, as well as the Minister, as well as Her Excellency Judith Slater, and invite all the recipients of leases to come on stage here for a photo op. Please ask the farmers who have received leases, all of you now, to come forward and take a photo with the Prime Minister.
There's a two string, so that we can hear.
Sorry, they're trying to get the pipes in the shots as well. They're just asking if everybody can just come on this side, please.
So do I need to untie this?
Yeah, I'm still in Clarendon. Yeah, still like right now. They put it down, sir. Alright. Alright. No, nothing specific. What's your 10 for it, man? Alright. Alright. What?
My tax is at 40%. But you have to have something else that they don't understand. It's business. It's not. You know, because what you used to have is production. Just keep it. You know, they call up afraid that there's a go. And a man have the land for 20 years and form one day out of it. Don't work like that.
It's temporarily located there.
Yeah.
All right, ready?
Tell us when you're ready. Yeah. EDB is here. Good. Yeah.
All right, let's go. Everybody's ready?
Hold on.
Ready.
Ready? All right, after 3? Everybody's ready? We go after 3? All right. 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's got the water now.
I think they're going to show you what they have inside, and they're going to show you the water.
Whoops. No, but let the media go first.
There.
It's fine.
You're there.
Hi, Commissioner.
This is Mr. Giles, who is in charge or CEO of the National Irrigation Commission.
Good morning again.
So we see right here.
So we have our variable frequency drive. This is the electrical component of the start, but it is an energy saving device. So what it means is you lift up load, it ramp up. So what it does, so if you're just serving 10 farmers, that is the amount of water that if you pay and the energy. If you're serving 100, so it's an energy saving device. It has up to something about 40% of what the normal is. So we have the power supply. We want you to start this. First person start it officially. So this is the power supply. Let's say this one, lift that up. You just spin that one button. So yes, this one.
So which this one? This one. So High Commissioner, I give you the privilege. Please go ahead.
Spin, yeah.
Here you go.
All right. So we're going to go outside now. So we're water.
This way?
So this is the hydrant part now. So this is just a part of farmers to control their water.
Oh, so this is where the water is then?
Yes. So you just cannot catch it.
So don't. Let me test it. Let me test it. Just make sure water in. Just a test. We don't want to understand and know what. Come in, where's CDB? Come on this side.
Come in. Come in. Come in. You work too hard. Come.
So our goodly permanent secretary had said that the stage and the tent was a facade, and that after the event is over, that will be removed, and the next time you see this place, it will be in full agricultural production. Well, let me tell you that this is not a facade.
Yes.
When I turn this pipe, this valve, you will see water. And this water is what will be the basis on which the agricultural park will flourish. This symbolic turning of this valve represents the fruition of the good support, development support from the United Kingdom, almost $4 billion in support, in addition to the resources of the government of Jamaica and the technical expertise and management of the government of Jamaica to bring this all together so that the farmers can finally have irrigation in their field. All right, so we're not going to waste it.
Very good. Excellent. All right, so you're going to look at the agro park.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.